Do you lack confidence to ask for what you want? When you ask, are you met with resistance? So you say to yourself, oh, why even bother? And then do it yourself. Is this leaving you feeling overwhelmed and underappreciated? If so, if this sounds like you, you're going to want to tune into today's show on how to ask for what you want. So welcome to an author, a coach, a speaker, and he helps coaches and healers generate more sales in their business worldwide. So I want to welcome Nick to the show. Thank you, Nick, so much for being here. Please tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thanks so much, Kelly, and congratulations on your show #1 and for having me as your guest. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. You're welcome.
You're welcome. Thank you. So a little bit about myself, as you did a great job introducing me. I appreciate it. So I'm a coach for coaches and healers to generate more sales. I've been an entrepreneur since I was 17 years old. And through my own entrepreneurial journey, I started around sales and marketing and promotion is my background. And through that journey, I really learned that we got to ask for what we want. And there's a certain process to generating sales. And through my own spiritual path and personal development and spiritual journey, I came to really helping coaches and healers because I felt really compelled to help coaches and healers be able to really make a difference in other people's lives. It was coaches and healers that made a difference in my life, helped me transform my life. It's coaches that inspire me to become a coach myself. And because I have a business mind and because I've been around sales for a long time, I really felt that I could really make a big contribution in that way. So it's a little bit about me and what I do.
Oh, well, that's amazing. Thank you so much for being here. I'm looking forward to hearing your perspective on sales and how to confidently ask for what you want, because that is the brunt of it, right? Having the confidence to ask. I mean, unless we ask, we don't receive. So that's right. Yeah, that's amazing. So now this is the Coffee and Confidence Show. So before we get into your teachings, Nick, I'm really excited to hear what you have to say. I'm adding a little bit of the coffee element to our show today. So it is time for what is in your cup. All right. So in my cup today, honestly, I have a Keurig cup, a Keurig cup in my cup. So I'm at the cottage. My grocery shopping was done at the convenience store today. So I have a medium roast Keurig cup with some cream and no sugar for this girl today. So Nick, what's in your cup?
I have a fruit type of tea. Oh, I guess it's a fruit. It doesn't tell me what kind of fruit, but it's kind of like a different kind of blend of fruit. And it smells really fruity and very nice. So I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, well, that's amazing. So any of our viewers online, I would love to hear what's in your cup. You know, do you have coffee? Do you have tea? Which do you prefer? Please let us know in the comments what's in your cup. So let's see here. We've got a couple of reactions. We've got some people that are online here. And well, when those comments come in, I will read them as to what is in their cup. So what we're going to talk about is how to confidently ask for what you want. But Nick, before we get into that, I want to ask you, what stops people from asking for what they want?
I think there's a number of different things that stop people from asking what they want. Ultimately, the big answer is fear. That fear has many faces and shows up in many different ways. But the underlining aspect, I think, of what stops people from asking what they want is ultimately fear, whether that's fear of rejection, fear of appearing selfish, fear of success. What if the person says yes? And I have to actually do what it is that I'm asking them to do, or what it is that I want them to do. Fear of what other people think. I think that's a huge one. We live oftentimes, in such fear of what are other people going to think, and that stops us from asking for what we want. So I think there's a lot of fear wrapped up in that.
Yeah, I agree. Like even with the coaching client, the clients that I coach, that comes up often, right? It's that fear of rejection or, self-doubt creeps in. It's like, well, what's stopping you? What's stopping you from asking? I don't know. And then all these things starts rolling through people's heads, right? And they start to talk themselves out of asking,
That's
right?
exactly it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I know that you help coaches and healers generate more sales. So how, is the sales technique only reserved for salespeople?
Yeah, no, absolutely not. Sales is the number one skill in life, not just for business people, not just for coaches and healers. Ultimately, what is sales? Sales is the way that I equate it. Sales is influence, and influence comes from being of service. So I equate sales to actually living a service-based life. What it means to sell simply means to influence, and we're all doing that. You're influencing, your spouse to give you the back rub, or to go on date night, or to, invest into something. You're influencing your kids to, wash the dishes, pick up after themselves. And ultimately, the biggest sale that you've got to make is selling yourself on yourself, because you're ultimately influencing yourself to, get on the yoga mat, or get to the gym, or have the apple instead of the cake. Build that business that you've always wanted to build, make those calls that you always wanted to do. You'll notice that in every moment, there is a sale that is happening, or there is an influence that is happening. And generally that's happening within yourself. So learning how to make sales, the first sale to learn how to make, and it's the hardest sale to make, but once you make it, all other sales are easier, is selling yourself on yourself. And that goes for every aspect of life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, most definitely. Like I think of, my clientele is the people pleasers, right? And a lot of that self-doubt is that, yeah, they got to sell it to themselves first, because they'll think, well, no, if I ask that person to go to the movies with me, no, maybe they won't want to go. So they're framing it around what the other person wants. But yeah, you have to sell it to yourself first, right? So then once you sell it to yourself, it's way easier to sell it to the other person, because that, right, the energy that's surrounding it, of, the energy of asking.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, a lot of it comes down to enthusiasm, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the core word of enthusiasm is the Greek word ethos.
Mm-hmm.
And ethos is the Greek word for love. It's a word for love. So ultimately, when we're coming from a space of shyness, or I don't want to ask because I'm trying to be nice here, or something like this, and then you get a response that you don't like, or you get a response that's somewhat reflection of the way that you're asking, without enthusiasm, without conviction, right? If you come up to someone and say, oh, would it be okay? Is it all right if we go to the movies? You're not sold on it yourself. So generally the response that you're going to get is one that is not enthusiastic about it. So we always have to remember, people respond in the way that we show up. So when we show up enthusiastically, when you show up enthusiastically, when you've already sold yourself on the idea that going to the movies is a great plan, then absolutely you're going to get a better response. You're going to be more confident. Now, here's the secret to asking for what you want. You have to respect the other people's free choice and will. Their free will and choice. They can say no, and you don't take it personally. They're not saying no to you. They're saying no to what it is that you're asking. If you're asking to go to the movies with someone and they say no, that's fine. Be ready to go to the movies regardless whether they say yes or no. Don't feel like you have to wait for people to say yes for you to do what you want in life. But you should ask. I use the waiter example, right?
Yeah. Let's hear it.
Okay, so the example is, think about a waiter at like a breakfast joint, right? The waiter's got a cup of coffee, as this is the Coffee and Confidence show, right? They've got their cup of coffee, and they're going around to each table, and they're saying, hey, would you like a cup of coffee? Would you like me to refill you? And then the first table says no. And then they move on to the next table. Hey, would you like a cup of coffee? Yes. They fill them up. Here's what the waiter doesn't do. Hey, would you like a cup of coffee? Let's say they say no. Oh, oh no, they don't like my coffee. Oh, they rejected me. They don't like me. They don't love me. They don't want my coffee. Now, of course, I'm making fun a little bit here, but some of you are doing that. You're asking, and the person says no, and you're taking it personal. Oh, it must mean I'm not good enough. It must mean I'm not worthy. You're making it mean way more than what it means. Just know the person doesn't want to do it. That's it, right? It's not personal. Here's another thing. The waiter goes around and hey, would you like some coffee? And they say no. Here's what some of you are doing. Well, why not? This is the best coffee ever. I personally flew this coffee in from Colombia. We personally roasted in the back. Why don't you want my coffee? That's another thing. Some of you guys are getting angry, or you're trying to defend what it is that you want. And in that way, you're trying to convince the other person that they should want it too. The secret is to be unattached when you're asking for what you want. Just simply ask. Be like the waiter. Would you like to go to the movies tonight? Yes? Fantastic. Go to the movies, right? No, I'm not feeling it. Okay, I appreciate you sharing that. And you know what? Call up a next person, your friend, whatever. Go to the movie. Again, be willing to go and do it regardless. And in that way, you'll get more yeses because people will see that in your energy. And when someone says no, you're okay with it. You're unattached.
Yeah, Nick, I just want to take a moment just to read some comments because we have some comments coming in. So right here from Stephanie Tratner, she's like, LOL, all the above. And I'm pretty sure that's in response to what's in your cup, tea and coffee. Depends on the day, I guess. The next one, Carrigan. Hi, Kelly. Hi, Carrigan. Glad to have you here. Carrigan also says, I love this story, Nick. She's probably, I'm assuming, talking about the waiter. It is very valuable. And Carrigan also says, so valuable. That is true. Even myself, and I know there's a lot of moms out there watching, even starting with your kids at a young age, right? Like how to get them to ask for what they want, or how to so that they're not deflated on getting no's all the time. Like last week, my daughter wanted to go swimming. And I was like, awesome. Well, let's invite a friend. She's like, well, who do I ask? And I'm like, well, who do you want to ask? Start there, and you keep going until you get a yes. Or eventually, if you don't get any yeses, you go alone. I mean, I've had to do that years ago. It was like probably 5 years ago. Beautiful day to go snowshoeing. I had extra snowshoes. I called 9 people. Nobody wanted to come snowshoeing. I really wanted to go. So I went by myself, right? So you have to keep going and until you get a yes, or you just go alone, right?
That's exactly it. And you'll become more confident in that way because you're starting to ask for what you want. And you're not, a lot of not asking for what you want is just too concerned about what other people think, or looking for validation for someone else, or not wanting to do things by yourself. That's you're going to limit yourself in your life. Because if you always need someone to say yes to you, if you always need someone to validate what you're doing or to go snowshoeing with you, good chances are you may never go snowshoeing, right?
That's right.
Right? Yeah. And then all of a sudden you're going to be like, oh, no one, I don't do the things I want to do in my life because nobody else wants to do it with me. Well, nobody is obligated to do it with you. Let people off the hook. When you have no attachment, or you don't put obligations on other people, even if it's your spouse, that's the person we do it to the most. You should support me in everything I do. Support and wanting to do something is two different things. Yeah, I support you in what you want to do, but I'm not going snowshoeing. I don't like the cold, right? Just let it be. Yeah. And if you let it be, you'll actually find that you're a little bit more free in your life. And because you're more free in your life, you won't have so much hangups on what everybody else thinks. Not everybody's going to be satisfied or is going to like you or is going to want to do everything you want to do. That would be an unreasonable expectation to carry on. So when you have reasonable expectations, which you respect other people's free will and choice, you just put the offer out. So I teach sales to coaches and healers, as you've mentioned. I just simply use the waiter analogy. Look, would you like to generate more sales in your business? And would you like me to help you do it? No, Nick, I'm good. Fantastic. At least now people know what it is that I do. And if they think maybe I can use you in the future, they know. So when you ask for what you want, you're also letting people know what you like, what you do, what you want to do. Even if they say no, think of it that you've planted a seed for the future, and possibly that seed might flourish a little bit later on. But again, be unattached to it. That's the secret.
And I also like what's coming to mind as well is, when you don't ask for what you want, it keeps you small. But when you put it out there, you just put it out there and you're communicating what you do want, it allows for growth and expansion. And like you said, it's planting the seeds. So some people use that language, right? Like stay small or like play the big game.
That's right. You got to ask. I mean, look at kids. Kids are great teachers, right? Kids just ask for what they want. They don't have any reservation about it. They've got that inner childlike spirit, that creative spirit. And that's really what you want to tap into, your inner child, your inner spirit that's just going out there and asking. But as adults, we have all kinds of hangups. We all kinds of rules, Well, you shouldn't ask. It's too late to call. It's too early to call. It's not the right time, Like, it's amazing how much we talk ourselves into reasons and justifications and excuses of why we don't ask. And really what's underneath most of that is just that you're scared to ask. But if you just face that fear, get over it, and just start asking again and staying unattached, you're going to feel better because you're like, well, at least I asked. And then again, depending on the context, be willing to just call somebody else. In sales, I just tell people, just ask somebody else. If every day you're asking somebody, would you like to take a look at my coaching service or my healing service or my product or my service, it's inevitable that someone's going to say yes.
Yeah.
So just ask.
Yeah. What we've been practicing in our family recently is tuning into our intuition more. So like you said, if you've got that feeling like, oh, hey, I want to call so-and-so, right? That's your intuition. Like, oh, I feel like doing that right now. But then as soon as you let that self-doubt creep in, you start saying, well, oh, it's too early. They're probably not up yet. Or, oh, they're probably busy, yada, 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 right? The story goes on and on and on. That is, you're silencing your own voice. So we've been practicing that at home, like even, reinforcing that in my daughter. And, I hear the self-doubt a little bit creeping up. So I'm trying to squash that early. And I'm like, no, do it. If they say no, they say no. If they're not home, so be it. Like if you want to call, call.
Yeah, I love it. That's that intuition, that inspired action, right? Oh, you know what? I should call this person. I should do that. If we learn to really follow that high intuition, that knowingness, oh, this is that inspired thought, your life is going to lead to some amazing, amazing places. And you're going to be able to create in such a way that's almost going to seem superhuman to the people around you. The rules that we've placed upon ourselves, the boxes, the limitations, these sort of justifications, that's what really keeps us small, and it keeps our life going in cycles. Some people say, my life is the same. For 20 years, I've been living the same life. I'm not having new experiences. My life doesn't seem very exciting. It's because you're limiting yourself. And that has nothing to do with anyone outside of you. So, you got to take 100% responsibility and say, wait a sec, am I asking for what I want? I was on a call with someone, maybe just yesterday, I believe. And I was going over her. She's a healer. She's a relationship coach, helping women find healthy relationships. And I said, so she went through her process with me. And I said, okay, that's good. I said, but you didn't ask me if I wanted to do your program. So I said, are you asking people if they want to take your program? And she thought about it and she said, no. I said, oh, well, I mean, here's my $1 million advice for you. All right. Start asking. Ask them. You have to ask. Don't assume that people are just going to put their hand up and say, I want to go to the movies with you. I want to go snowshoeing with you. I want to wash the dishes, Mom. All right. I'm sorry, but your kids aren't going to do that, right? Like, right? It's not going to happen. You have to ask. And this means being a leader in your life. This means being authentic in your life. It is authentic to ask for what we want. It is natural to ask for what we want. It is not natural to hold our thoughts and desires and everything inside. Remember that desire is a natural part of life, and to ask for what you want is part of helping create that desire. And so if you're not doing that, you're really restricting your own life. And so I really, really encourage everybody that's connecting in with us to, take on the challenge of starting to ask for what you want, despite how uncomfortable it makes you feel. Be okay being uncomfortable, and eventually it won't be uncomfortable. You'll just ask.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I think of the clients that I work with, right? People pleasers. A lot of clients out there can relate with, well, I don't even know what I want, because they've been putting other people's needs first for so long. Now it's really challenging. I mean, they really have to sit down and consciously think about, oh, what do I want? Right? So yeah, first is you have to identify what you do want. But, like asking for the sale is asking for the sale. But like sometimes it's much more than that, right? We really have to like look within and say, well, what do I want?
Yeah. And, start small, right? Like if you're hesitating to ask for some extra time off, you're hesitating to ask for the raise, you're hesitating to ask, for your kids to help out a bit more, right? Or whatever it is, start off. I mean, we all, even if we don't know the big picture, what do we want in our life and this, in the moment, there's things that we want, and start asking yourself, like you mentioned, Kelly, start asking yourself, what is it that I want right now? What, I would really like to be in better shape, or be in better health. Great. Well, what's something that you can do right now? Ask yourself, what's something that I could do right now that would improve that? Oh, I could get on the yoga mat, or I can go for a walk, or I can, and then do it. And then your little voice inside your head is going to try to talk you out of it. It's going to say, oh, but it's kind of cold out. Oh, it looks like it might rain. Oh, the kids are got to, I got to get the stuff ready for the, stop. You got to tell your little voice, stop. I'm in charge. I'm going to do what I want to do. And as long as you start to put yourself in charge, this is an exercise of willpower. You have to exercise your willpower. The stronger your willpower, the more you'll ask for what you want, and the less you'll be concerned with the answer. Right? You'll just know. Your job is to ask, like the waiter, would you like some more coffee? The waiter is unattached to whether you want the coffee or not. The waiter just knows that it's her job or his job to ask. So be the waiter. Ask, whatever the response is, be okay with it. If you get the response you're looking for, go ahead, do whatever you're doing. If you get a no, say thank you very much, respect people's free will and choice, and move on. I've got another mantra, right? Some will, some won't. So what? Next. Right? That's, this is a sales thing that I teach people with sales, but it could apply to many aspects of life, right? Some will, some won't. So what? Next. There's 7 billion people on the planet. You can't find one person that wants to do what you want to do. No, that just means you're not asking enough. You're not trying hard enough. You're playing too small.
Right. So what I'm hearing on how to ask for what you want is, first, identify what you want and be enthusiastic and unattached. So be enthusiastic and unattached.
Yeah.
That sound about right?
Totally. Nailed it.
Simple. I love that. That's amazing, right? Just be enthusiastic. I know, I think enthusiasm, I'm naturally drawn to people who are enthusiastic, right? Enthusiasm is magnetic. And when a person's magnetic, they're showing confidence, right? So, I just love that.
Yeah, I love it.
Nick, thank you so much for sharing the wonderful insight with all of our viewers today. Before we get going, earlier, Stephanie Tratner says, no, it was for what stops you. So earlier she had made a comment like, LOL, all the above. I was thinking it was coffee and tea, but she's like, no, it's like for what stops you from asking for what you want. And Cara Dawn Miller says, yes, teaching our children at a young age for them to follow what feels good for them and not what others want to do instead. We must do this first for ourselves. Yes, that's absolutely true, Cara Dawn. We must follow ourselves first as parents, as leaders, as moms of the family. We have to be the leaders, right? We have to walk the walk and be a role models for our children. So that's amazing. So Nick, I want to ask, how can people get in touch with you? For all of our viewers that might want to connect with you, how can they connect with you?
Oh, fantastic. Well, we're watching this here live on Facebook right now. So hit that friend request button. That's a great way to connect with me and just, say hello. I'd love for you to reach out. You can also visit me at www.coachnickspeaks.com. And if you're a coach or a healer or someone who's looking to maybe grow your business, I've got a free class called Selling Authentically 101. And you can opt in and get that free class to learn how to sell more in your life. And remember that sales isn't just a business skill, it's a life skill. And it's one of the most important life skills that is overlooked.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's amazing. So, Nick, I want to invite you to leave those links in the comments below here once we're done the show so that everybody can, have easy access to connect with you. So, yeah, everyone, please reach out with a friend request. So that's amazing. So I want to let everybody know that I do have the Coffee and Confidence private Facebook group. If anybody wants to join that, I would love to have you join there. And if you're enjoying this show today, I want to invite you back next week. So I'm going to run this weekly Coffee and Confidence show Thursday mornings. So today was a special day because we're doing a little pre-show together on a Wednesday. So you can find the Coffee and Confidence show regularly here on Facebook Thursday mornings. Next week, so June 21st, we're going to have the next show at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. And next week, we're going to be talking about how to put yourself first without feeling guilty. So you're going to want to join my special guest, Carrigan Miller, who's an energy healer, who's going to talk all about putting yourself first without feeling guilty. So I hope to see you all there. So thank you so much, Nick, for being on the show today. I know that everybody watching got tons of value from what you had to offer. And I want to see everybody here next week. Thank you for joining in.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.